Fickle is a light-hearted set collection game for 3 to 5 players. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes, but the main thing about this game is that it encompasses the artwork of the fairies of Amy Brown, as you can see in the different families of fairies that we have in the game. The basic premise of the game is that the families are vying for positions, and each different family has different abilities on them. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the game, the mechanics, show you how to play it, and then get you ready for the Kickstarter that's coming up at the end of May during KublaCon. Now, to begin, we put the player board in the middle, and this will keep track of the rounds as we go along, first round to final round, so 5 rounds during the game. If you don't want to keep track of it here, which it is easier to do because of the rotation token that we'll have, you can also keep track of it down here, 1 through 5. And then these keep track of the different turns that are during the round. Now, when you become familiar with the game, this is double-sided, so you could just use it as a round tracker this way. But for beginning the game, it's a lot easier to keep track of it here, so we'll go through this. We're going to go with start round. We're going to start here. So we're going to take our little mouse token. We're going to have it on the start round there, and then we're going to start off at first round with our double-sided token here. Now, this shows what direction play is going to continue in, either counterclockwise or clockwise. But at the beginning of the game, we got to figure out who is leading the game. So we get these tokens right here. There's 8 of them, and shuffle them around, and then you just pick one. Whoever's going to be starting the game will pick one and flip it over, and it shows, oh, okay, we're going to be going clockwise for this round. So you'll put the token on first round on the clockwise side right there, and go ahead and take that token out of the game. You can keep these here because they're different on each side, clockwise or counterclockwise, and you'll flip them and it'll change what direction the round starts. So now that we've got a start round, we've technically flipped the token. We would resolve and delay any effects that we had, but we still got to set up for the game. This is just the beginning. You choose 5 fairies from 5 families of fairies from a multitude of families that the game comes with, and each one of these has a different prestige number at the top. Well, this is prestige. It has a different family number at the top. I think it's actually its power, referred to as power in the game. And they have different abilities. Now, there's certain different builds that do different things, or you could just pick 5 families from the box at random, or use some kind of randomizer to do it. I've picked 5 families here that I've played with the designer and with the people from BARD Games. We've been playing this with them for a lot over the past couple years during development. It's awesome to see this game go from starting out to how it is now in an upcoming Kickstarter. So you see the Prestige family here. It tells you that you can exchange any fairy from your alliance with a family in an opponent's alliance of the same family. So you can switch stuff out. Each different family of fairies has a different ability. So you choose 5 of them, and then we're going to get these shuffled out. And each family has cards ranging from 1 to 5. 5, of course, being the lowest, or highest, and 1 being the lowest. We're going to get these shuffled up, and let's go over scoring, because scoring is really different in this game. This is an all or nothing game, basically. So let's go ahead and go over scoring. Now, the game comes with this nifty scoring reference sheet right here, and we're going to go through different things. So as you go along during the game, you'll have your alliance of families set up in front of you. Now, for each card, if you have one of that card at the end of all 5 rounds, you will score the card at face value. But if you have 2 of them, they're going to score at 0. If you have 3 or 4 of the cards of the same fairy family, the highest value card of that set is going to score negative points. So you've got to, you're either trying to get 1 card or you're trying to get all of them, because 5 or more of the same fairy in the family, you get to total up all of them and use them as your points for that family. And that's if you have the most cards out of everybody in the game for that family, you'll total. Or if you only have 1 of that card there. So you're trying to get the number there if you only have 3 or 4. So it changes up your strategy as you're choosing cards during the game, which we'll show you now. I've got this deck shuffled up. So let's go ahead. And we're going to start out with everybody gets 2 cards to start off their alliance, the family. And they're dealt to everybody randomly. I'm sorry, that should be 3 cards dealt to you randomly. You pick 2 of them to start your alliance and put them in play in front of you, and the 3rd card goes to start the discard pile. So let's go ahead and pass out 3 cards for me. Let's do 3 cards for player number 1 over there, and 3 cards for player over there. And we're all going to look at our cards, pick 2 to start our family. Ooh, it looks like I've got 2 nobles and a prestige. So I'm going to actually keep these nobles, because the noble ability tells you that at the end of the game, the highest value noble always scores as positive points for your noble family. So I'm actually going to keep these 2 nobles. I'm going to go ahead and discard this prestige. So I'm going to keep those with my family there. Discard that one. Let's see, player 1 over here is just going to, they got a noble and a give and a switch right there. So they're going to keep these 2 for their starting families. And families are shown. You see them during the game, what people have. Let's go see over there. Oh, they got 2 gives and a noble. Looks like nobles are really good. They're gonna yeah, they're gonna keep 1 of each. They're gonna keep the higher give that they have over this lower give, because just in case they don't get any more during the game, they'll still score only 2 points for that 1 they got there. And discard there. Okay, so now everybody is ready to start the game. We've got our deck of cards with the discard pile right there. We'll go ahead and set it here. The first player is going to go around, and we're going to deal 3 cards to each player, just like we did right here. But in this, you don't get to keep the cards. You're going to do what's called stack and pass. So I'll show you how that goes right now. We'll get 3 cards, 3 cards here, 3 cards here. And whenever they are stacked and passed, you're going to pass them in the direction that your turn marker shows. So it's going to be clockwise. So I'm going to stack and pass these, but then I'm going to pass on this player over here. So I'm going to strategically, as I'm looking at these cards and keeping them hidden, think, what would that player like to add to his family over there? And whenever you stack them, they're going to put them like this, because after you pass them and everybody's passed, they get to choose. If they look at the first card, and if they don't want it, they have to set it off to the side, and then they can choose that second card. But they don't have access to that first once they've passed it. So we get to go through, and then if they pass on these 2, they've got to keep that last one, and it stays in their family, and it will be revealed and resolved afterwards. So I'm gonna set these up for the player over there. I'm gonna put that prestige there, because you kind of mess people up with their stuff. So stack and pass. Let's say they're looking over here. They're like, oh, okay, they've got a give card. Maybe they don't want a give card, or they might want another noble card. Let's put that noble card all the way in the bottom for them. Over here, stack and pass that there, and then they are going to pass these to me over here. It doesn't really matter. They got 2 switches. Let's put a switch there and here, so that I'll have to make that decision there. So now that we've stacked and passed face down, we get to dismiss and choose 1 card. So we're going to go through, like I said, let's just start off looking at my cards here. It's like, okay, it's a switch. Do I want to keep it? No, let's say I'm not going to keep it, so I'll put this. So that one's out already. We'll put it face up just for tracking. So look at this one. Yeah, I say I'm gonna keep that one, and we'll go ahead and, okay, that one's passed there, and these get discarded down here. And then everybody's got their 1, let's say, go ahead and keep 1 there, discarded. They're gonna, let's say they went all the way to the bottom of their stack like that. Discarded. And then everybody, once they all have 1 card, we're gonna go ahead and reveal at the same time the cards that we have chosen. And depending on the power, we are going to resolve the fairy's ability, and the power starts with the highest power first. So I've got a 3 as opposed to their power on their cards. They've got 2. So my fairy, this prestige one, would resolve first. I get to exchange any fairy from my alliance with a fairy in an opponent's alliance of the same family. So I could say, okay, I've got a 2 noble and a 4 noble here. They've got the 5 noble over there. I can switch. I got a 3 noble over there. I can switch. So I'm going to take my 2 noble and switch it with their 5 noble. And now that my fairy has resolved, it actually goes into my alliance there. And then it would go to the next person that was highest to resolve theirs. They both have 2s on their fairies that they chose. So it goes whoever's closest to the start player that flipped the token. So if it was me, so let's say this guy, they would go ahead and resolve their fairy here, which is a shared fairy. All players take the fairy of their lowest favor in their alliance and pass it in the direction of the current round. Ooh, okay. So we all have to take our fairy of our lowest one, which my fairy is my prestige. I have to pass it this way. They've got 2, so they get to choose whichever one they want. They're going to choose this one. They're going to keep that noble and pass it this way. Their 2 give is their lowest, so it goes this way. We all rotate. And then since their fairy resolved, it goes into their alliance there. And then the last player would resolve theirs, which is a noble, which just says at the end of the round they get to keep it. So it goes into their alliance. It doesn't have any effect on the play. Then we give the court crier to the last player, which is this the token right here that's going around. It goes to the last player. If it's the end round, we score. It's not, so we're going to go to the start of the round. So the crier, the court crier, who is the last player that went, which would be this player over here, they're going to choose. Boom. Oh, we're going counterclockwise for this round. So the token flips to counterclockwise, and they would start by dealing out 3 cards. And that's the basic premise and play of Fickle. It's an awesome game. We love playing it. We've been playing it for the past couple years. Since like right before or right around the time I started the channel, I started getting in touch with different designers and creators. So almost 2 years we've been seeing this in development and playing. The designer Gary is an awesome guy. Brandon and Eric from BARD Games are awesome. They were willing to come meet up with us at a shop and just sit down and play with us. It's a great game, so go ahead and check it out on Kickstarter. It'll be launching the weekend of KublaCon. If you're going to be at KublaCon, come and watch us play. We will be there playing Fickle at the convention with Brandon and the other fellows from BARD Games. So come out and meet up with us. I'm Logan from Logan Chalks Reviews Previews. We'll see you next time. Happy gaming.